You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast. I almost said candy shop. I'm sorry. Let me start over. I had to stop. Okay. You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast. Your one place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. Welcome. It's Tony.
Hey, everybody. It's Ben.
Hey, everybody. It's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. Just wanted to say, Port Liberty is down for the count. She's sick, and she's heartbroken that she won't be able to join us tonight, but she's sending her love, and we miss her terribly, but just that's why she's not with us tonight. So, and tonight, it's an auspicious night. We are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Madonna's Rebel Heart album. I can't believe it's been 10 years already. It feels like yesterday and then not yesterday all at the same time. But for everyone tuning in, if you're not aware, Rebel Heart is Madonna's 13th studio album. And just to clarify, it's called 13 because they are not counting I'm Breathless as a studio album. So basically, you can call this her 13th studio album if you don't consider I'm Breathless a studio album, because, and I have to bring this up because everyone's saying that her forthcoming album with Stewart is M15. And so I'm like, well, yeah, it's her 15th if we don't count I'm Breathless. I tend to count I'm Breathless, but for shits and giggles, we'll just say it's her 13th studio album without I'm Breathless. It was released by Interscope Records at the time on March 6th, 2015. And of course, as we know, she worked on this with Avicii and Diplo and Kanye West and bevy of other songwriters and producers. I mean, the list is endless. And this was, of course, a very fraught era with Madonna. It did not really go the way that she wanted to. For the purposes of this episode and this anniversary, we are going to focus solely on the official released tracks from the Super Deluxe edition. We are going to do a separate episode about all of the leaks, and then we're also going to do another episode about the tour, probably a little later this year in honor of the anniversary of the tour. So you've got some Rebel Heart. I figure since the album is so big, we can't all squeeze it into just one episode. So you're going to get a couple Rebel Heart episodes. Yeah, I mean, how do we want to start with Rebel Heart? I mean, I guess we all know the story because she meant to release the first single around Valentine's Day in 2015, and then the album was supposed to happen in March, but things didn't go her way due to some Israeli guy who was hacking her email and stealing songs.
Yeah.
And so we got first two tracks that came out, which were Wash All Over Me and Rebel Heart. And then very shortly afterwards, we got like a bunch more and then like the entire album. And to combat that, Madonna just decided she was going to gift us a Christmas gift that year. And on, I think it was Christmas Eve that year, we got a 6-track EP, which was basically the first 6 tracks of the album, with the rest of the album following in the, so that was 2014, and then the rest of the album came in 2015. But I mean, there's a lot to cover. Do we want to talk favorite tracks? Do we want to go track by track? How do you want to work it, boys?
Well, maybe we should give our sort of overall thesis assessment of it as a body of work. Tony can go first.
Okay, go, Tony.
Yeah, no, what I was thinking about was I don't remember specifically where I was reading all this information, but I remember somebody told me, type in unapologetic bitch on Google, and I would, and then it went straight to Madonna, like to her Wikipedia page. And there were a couple of other keywords that every time you type them in, they would take you to Madonna's page. So I was thinking, this is the beginning of the rollout. They're going to have this whole thing where you type in Madonna's name or something, and it's going to take you to a site, and it's going to talk about the music or whatever. And, you know, I was getting really excited. cut to like one Friday morning, I get a call like at 6:30 in the morning. One of my coworkers is like, "There's Madonna music that just came out," and I'm like, "That's not true." And there it was. It was on, iTunes or whatever it was, and it was the first couple of leaks. And yeah, I mean, as a body of work, it's kind of. I feel like we got a lot of this piecemeal, and when the album finally came out, in my opinion, it was a little underwhelming. Maybe it was because there was so much to cover, and it didn't feel like there was a focus. But for the most part, I would say you could say the same thing about MDNA. You could condense it into about 10 to 12 tracks, and it would be a really solid record, But this was also, it needs to be mentioned that this is the first time Madonna worked in a songwriting camp. There were dozens of writers and producers per song, if not half dozen, and I think it affected a lot of the songs that were more ambitious. But they're like, we'll talk about which tracks slapped and which ones did not. But yeah, this is a very ambitious project. It would be interesting to know what was planned for it, because everything got subverted by the leak. And the release was supposed to be like a Valentine's Day thing, and that did not happen. And then couple that with what happened at the Brits in London, it wasn't Madonna at her most confident, and I hate that for her, because that's what we expect when she puts a new record out.
Yeah, it did feel a little thwarted, the era. Just be like, things just got off to such a rocky start, and she was, I mean, rightly so, very irritated that the leaks happened. And I mean, it was a very angry Instagram post at the time that she put up about like artistic rape, and it was she just was not happy about it. And then, it's her in that cape, the wardrobe malfunction at the Brit Awards. I mean, that was shocking. And like watching it live at work, that it was shocking to see.
I almost had a heart attack. I was sitting here at home. I almost died.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't, my mouth was agape, and I was texting somebody being like, "Oh my God." Like, it was just, and I mean, props to her for getting up and finishing that performance, and like a pro. I mean, if you think about, like, Ashley Simpson had a stupid
she ran off the stage.
Vocal issue, and she ran off stage at Saturday Night Live. Like, it's like she couldn't even handle it. So props to Madonna for being like dragged down a flight of stairs and then getting up and dancing. I always remember during the I think it was the Girly Show reunion, where the dancers were all like, they could not believe that any of the dancers that were dancing with her during the Brit Awards did not like stop and pick her up. Like, they just kept going. And I mean, maybe they were told to, but it's like, they were like, we would have picked her up.
Don't you think she would have been like, "Get your hands off me"? She would have been
100%.
Yeah. This is my moment. Yeah.
Well, and she did not want to be seen being helped up off the ground.
Yeah. And she said she knew. She said she's fallen off horses. She knew how to fall properly. So
exactly.
Listen, we all know as fans that when Madonna wants to be vulnerable and show vulnerability, it's up to her. It's not up to anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But yeah, so I do think that, I mean, the rollout was definitely a bit disjointed. We then, I mean, obviously she had originally planned to do a double album. The record company wasn't too keen on that, so she decided to just release a really big album. I mean, I had heard rumors that half of the tracks were meant to go to movie soundtracks like 50 Shades of Grey, The Giver. I think there was one or two other maybe possible, but I think ultimately, and we've talked about the album before, where I think she just was like, I'm just going to put, if no one's taking them, I'm just going to give them all out. And I think that's how we sort of got. It does. I love the album, but I do feel it gets a little uneven towards the end. There's some really solid, amazing Madonna songs, and I think one specific song that shines as, and I'm quoted in the Madonna songbook as saying, it's the most Madonna song she's written in ages. So, yeah, Ben, what did you think of Rebel Heart overall?
Well, you kind of touched on it. Like the original concept for the album was one half rebel, one half lover, Rebel Heart, right? So she had talked about a double disc, but also just a larger, like half ballads, half up tempo tracks. And we'll probably get more into that as a concept with when we cover the leaks, just because a lot of the Avicii stuff that didn't make the final one are very much in that concept.
Yeah.
But then she clearly moved on to other writers and other producers. I feel like there's really good songs and really okay songs, only a couple of bad songs. And like Tony, it suffers from bloat, but for me, the bloat was the production. It hasn't aged very well. In re-listening the last couple of weeks to prepare for this, I've really been struck by, wow, this production is so busy and bloated. And again, we'll talk more when we talk about the leaks and the production there versus the production here. And obviously the leaks had something to do with that because, as you mentioned at the top, she did the release of the 6 songs and they had already very quickly been reproduced. And we now know that a lot of the final versions had been reproduced largely by Kanye and Mike Dean. And it definitely resulted in a sort of a sonic palette that maybe didn't fit all of the songs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Wash All Over Me.
Yeah.
My friend Sean and I, we still to this day will just randomly text each other, RIP, Wash All Over Me, because we were always so sad that song got, it was, I mean, because I think the first time we heard it, it was a dance song, and then when she put it out, those Avicii violins, and then
now it's like, it's like a dirge.
It's kind of trodden and kind of like dumpy almost.
But then when you strip off all the production and you go through songs like, I mean, I love the songwriting of like Graffiti Heart. It's so very Madonna, and like Beautiful Scars could have been on Ray of Light, song. Which is funny that it's a Rick Knowles collaboration. Like she dipped back into that well. And like Best Night and Rebel Heart itself and Wash All Over Me, you know, great songwriting, but then just some of it was just, I also think they did the whole, this is just my take, I don't know this for sure. I think when the whole Bitch I'm Madonna became a thing and she embraced that on the project, and I think that led to more songs like Iconic and some of these others that were like hype songs that I'm just like, it just felt, it doesn't feel authentic. And neither in the songwriting nor the production. So, but then you get like a gorgeous thing like Heartbreak City, which, you know, on the tour got blended with Love Don't Live Here Anymore. And you're like, oh, that's why I like this song so much. It's like such a great distillation of that like emotional resonance. So it's like a meh for me on the whole. Like I'm like Tony, I could, when it first came out, I definitely, because those were the days when you still did downloads, you didn't stream. And so you could download it and then just make your own version of it, right? You didn't even have to make a playlist. You just made your own version. And I definitely had one that was 9 tracks, nice and tight, like True Blue. And that's what I listened to. So
Yeah, I don't know if you guys will agree with me, but this is the first time I heard a Madonna record from beginning to end where a lot of the songs didn't sound like her, and it didn't sound organic, and it sounded like, Madonna, we wrote this for you. Now sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is there are some very inherent Madonna songs on this. Like it is the Madonna that we love. But then there's some other songs that are glaringly not Madonna, and it's sort of like they just sort of like retrofit her. They put her in the song almost.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben, I do agree that there's a lot of the production is the song where like it's less about a catchy chorus and more about the production. And I'm thinking like Iconic or Illuminati. But see, and then there's weird things like, so I'll just pick on Illuminati for a moment. That song is not very special to me. I don't go to that song. Like that's a skip for me if I was like listening to the album. However, that moment where she's like, it's the little part where it's like it's just her singing. It's the enlightenment that dotted it all.
The bridge.
That is so Madonna. Like it is perfect, quintessential Madonna. She sounds wonderful. Her vocals sound great, and that is so catchy. And I'm like, that's what I want more of that song, like as opposed to like it's not Jay-Z or Beyonce. It's not, like it's the rapping part of it. I mean, again, that's the song. I'm used to it now, but like I wanted more of that. Yeah, the bridge. I wanted that beautiful part. But I don't.
You hit the nail on the head. This album has moments, but they don't add up to one beautiful moment. You know what I'm saying?
Although I do think that because there are so many songs, you can sort of pick and choose. And I think because of that, you do sort of say, oh, it's not that great, or this is not, because there's so many of them. I mean, like so many songs. But for me, my first, not issue, I don't want to say issue, but I did not adore Living for Love as a leadoff single. Now that might be a controversial thing for people, but for me, Living for Love did not have the catchiness that I felt a leadoff single that Madonna should have. Although I love that it was just her, like it wasn't her with a Kanye or her with, Nicki Minaj or her with, like, it wasn't a duet in any way, shape, or form. It was solely her singing. I mean, there was Mnek in the background and Alicia Keys on piano, but it wasn't, it was just her. But to me, that the chorus of Living for Love is the thing that just never sort of resonated with me. It just wasn't as catchy as I feel a leadoff single was.
And then it's better live than it was as a song because she went back to the arrangement of the original version. Because, on the internet, on the YouTube, children, you can actually find multiple versions of that song as it went through. And if you go back to like the third one, before Diplo started messing with it too much, like sometimes as a producer, he doesn't know when to leave things alone. And that was a song they should have just left alone. And then that became the basis for the remix that she performed at the Brits on Ellen in the tour. And that version of it, is that, what's his face? The DJ that offered Nissim, is that his version?
Offer Nissim. So the version that they have on Finally Enough Love is the Offer Nissim edit, I believe.
Okay, but that's the one they did. That's the one they did in the show, and she did it on Ellen. Because like when she performed it on Ellen on that tiny little stage with the dancers and the choreo, I was like, oh, I like this song so much better this way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the version she did on Le Grand Journal, where she performed.
Yeah.
So the Le Grand Journal, where she performed Living for Love and Ghost Town. Right? It was those two songs?
Yeah, I think it was those two.
But the version she did at Le Grand Journal, that was the first time she had done that version. And I was like, okay, now this should have been the official release.
Yeah.
It just, I had heard that they had so many different versions and they ultimately landed on the one that we got. But I think the album version, I was like, it didn't sparkle in the way that I felt a lead Madonna single should have.
It's a pastiche. And so it's got a lot of tape covering over some of its good parts, right? Because it's so taped together and it just didn't help it. It did. Yeah, you're right. It lost its sparkle for sure.
However, though, I still like the song, and I think it aged well. You know, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It didn't. It's not something that's going to completely disappear. I don't think. You know.
It did make it into the Celebration tour, just a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit, tiny little bit.
It was referenced in the Celebration tour.
But I do feel like then moving on, we get to some really great meaty Madonna songs. So like Devil Pray, that is such a fine Madonna song. She sounds great. It's very catchy, like, and it's very sonically even, and you just get pulled through that song. And I mean, obviously we'll talk about the tour more at length, but I love the performance that she did of it.
That's a great live performance. Yeah.
It's just got a couple of cringe lyrics that I was just like, the sniff glue thing, really?
Doesn't that song remind you of this album's version of I'm a Sinner from NDNA?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A little bit more. I mean, that's the thing. Avicii is so present on some of these songs, which I'm happy about. Like, it's just and Devil Pray to me is like, that's like, well, because of the drug references in the song. Like, it's so like when you think about where Avicii was in his life and I mean, eventually, you know, he ends up committing suicide. The fact Devil Pray really resonates in terms of like where he was in his mindset. So it's fascinating to sort of think about like that's where he was when he was working with Madonna. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a very on brand song for her. I don't think that would have been a song that you could have released as a single. However, to me, that's like Devil Pray is equivalent to like A Beautiful Killer, where it's like such a great Madonna song, but it would have never fared well as a single. But as a Madonna fan, we still love that, you know?
Oh, it's the song you wanted to see on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wanted to see what she was going to do with that on stage, and she fulfilled that for sure. Yeah. That's one of the highlights for sure.
Sorry, we'll go rapid succession or else we'll be here for hours.
Yeah, go ahead.
So obviously, next song, Ghost Town. As I said, as I told Madonna Songbook, this is the most Madonna song she's done in ages. I mean, it's her. I feel like it's her tribute to the Carpenters, and she sounds beautiful. And like Diplo said, if this was any other artist who did this song, it would have been a #1 hit. But because it was Madonna, it didn't get anywhere. And I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, it's
I think it should have
catchy and classic, and it's such a big banner song, and it should have been huge.
Yeah, I think in a different universe with the rollout, I think it could have been the first single, and it probably would have been. Really big,
I mean that video with Terrence? What's his
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Oh my God, I love that. The choreography in that video is amazing. I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna be the odd person out.
The hat.
I have to be the odd person out here. I am not a fan of Ghost Town.
All right, goodbye.
No, I love her vocals on it, and I like some of the writing, but I just feel like it was such a like any pop star 2015 2014 sound.
Right, but Madonna needed that at that time, you know.
She did, but yeah, I don't to me it doesn't feel all that Madonna. It just feels like that song, I'm like, that could have been like Selena Gomez singing that in 2014.
Well, see, Ben, you're the reason why it didn't go #1. That's why. You know, like people like you are the reason why that song didn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
I loved the video. The video was fantastic.
If Rihanna had done that song that year,
it would have been huge. Yeah. It would have been huge.
Yeah,
okay, that actually is probably the closest. It does sound like it could have been an extra track on Auntie. Like a year later.
I can see that.
I think this album they were mining for hits, That's why they had all the songwriters. And I mean, they were like, okay, we're throwing everything against the wall and we're going to put all these, production qualities behind it. We're going to put all these writers on it. Okay, the song's done. We're going to redo it, and I think that happened a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we can say at this point that's just not, that is not where she excels. Like, she needs that true collaborator, one or two, and they like get in the pocket and just do the thing, right?
Yeah, the songwriting process was too inconsistent for her because she wasn't able to sort of like keep the thread together, because Diplo, Avicii, everyone was like popping in and out, going on tour, emailing back and forth, and she wasn't able to focus. I mean, they even brought she was supposed to do another session with Pharrell. It was supposed to happen earlier, and then it didn't happen until later, and she'd already done a bunch of songs. And so like there were some Pharrell songs that were part of the leak that I happen to love, but like are very different from the vibe of the album, which you can then see why they didn't make it on the album. But it just, like, to me, I think the chaos of the process of putting this album together comes through a little too much, and I think that's where like we as Madonna fans, I think maybe had you not, like, because I know there are some younger Madonna fans, like young people today, who like maybe that was their first rollout of a Madonna album. They weren't used to how she did it before, or used to the exquisite eras that she had packaged up for us prior to that. So to them, this was a gift. We get all these songs. But I think for us, as like long term, we've grown up with her, that we could sort of see behind the curtain a little bit more. We were like, something doesn't seem right here. It's, again, I love the songs. I love the songs, like not all of them, but like I love music. But I do have issues with some of them, and others I don't.
I think the disconnect is more that the output didn't match the concept. Like, she was selling it as the rebel heart, the warrior and the lover, and none of that came through.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if you listen to her read her interviews and listened to the press and that she was doing, and then you listen to the album, you're like, what?
Why do you say that though, Ben?
Well, because there isn't that dichotomy of the rebel and the lover in this album. Like, that concept doesn't really play through.
So I'm just going to play devil's advocate so why don't you feel that the love songs are not there? Because, I mean, we've got Living for Love, we've got Ghost Town, you've got, Heartbreak City, Body Shop. I mean, there's a lot of love.
I think Heartbreak City and Body Shop are the only. See, Living for Love is like a express yourself to me. It's an up with
that's
me.
Getting over a breakup.
Yeah, song. And I can't, just Ghost Town. I can't, but yeah.
Well, guess what, y'all? I can't with Body Shop. Like, that's when I went to the bathroom at that Rebel Heart tour.
Body Shop to me is a skip for sure. It's a little too saccharine on the album. I do think she tends to have those moments. Obviously we've got Cherish or Superstar or Little Star. I think Body Shop is that moment on this album where it's maybe because there are so many other mature themes and mature production happening that Body Shop sort of just comes in and like sticks out a little too much. I think maybe if it had been on another era somewhere, like I don't know what era it would have flown better on, but like it to me it doesn't fit here.
I think it could have been fine on Madam X right next to Come Alive. They sound exactly the same.
You're right though. Yes, yeah, it does. For sure.
Oh my God. Oh, I can't. What's crazy is that almost all the writers and the production people on Body Shop are the same people who did Devil Pray.
I mean, Yeah, they were stretching. They were stretching themselves for sure.
It's a Mike Dean production.
Yeah, actually, that's a Blood Prop production.
Oh,
Those
is it?
two songs
Okay.
are the guy that did the producer who did a lot of art pop. So
then obviously for this era, Madonna was very caught up on the word bitch, because there were multiple songs that have that title too, or actually on the album, and then there's like a couple others that like didn't make it on the album. But we've got Unapologetic Bitch, one of my personal favorites, just because I was part of that song in the tour.
Were you?
Yeah.
Tell us again.
I'll save that for the tour episode. And then
we'll go get a drink in that part, Tony.
And then Bitch, I'm Madonna. I happen to love both. I mean, you can definitely see Diplo's experience, like his hands are all over the production on that. Unapologetic Bitch is a little bit more reggae tinged.
Wait, don't forget about Holy Water. Bitch, get off my pole.
Exactly. Bitch was all over the place. And then Bitch, I'm Madonna. I mean, it's funny. I don't think I really resonated with that song when it came out, but I actually really love it now, just because it's such a different vibe for her. And I mean, I wanted it to be more melodic, but I don't know. There's just something about that song that I kind of like. The video and how messy it was. Like, I remember like the styling just seemed so messy in that video with the hair. It was all kind of straggly, and she was wearing the hat and like the grills. And I mean, I love the video. I think that video is wonderful. The colors popping with remember the Bitch, I'm a Sock, and she's, so the socks are singing, and she's like all the choreography with the two Asian women that she has. And I mean, and again, I know we're not talking about the tour, but I gotta say the red fans on tour with Bitch, I'm Madonna. I mean, it's so good. I love that. I think I love it. Apparently neither of my friends here
I skip Unapologetic Bitch, Illuminati, and Bitch, I'm Madonna. I don't.
Yeah, for the most part, too. I like the lyric. After my breakup, I love the lyrical content of Unapologetic Bitch, obviously. But I got into that song years after the fact. I'm more of like a Best Night, Holy Water, Beautiful Scars, Wash All Over Me, original. Rebel Heart, like those are the songs that really like, came out for me, but especially Best Night. That is one that I will always add to a Madonna playlist with other songs.
We can skip around. I mean, Best Night for me, that was like bedtime stories come back to life.
Erotica, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, what's happened right here? Like I that's what I loved about like some of the songs where it's like where she did sort of reference herself again, which we always love. Like Best Night sort of has elements of Justify My Love, Holy Water. Holy Water, I mean, that is an iconic song for Madonna. Like the Bitch, Get Off My Pole, and and then she weaves Vogue into it, and again, iconic performance at the tour. I think there's certain moments where Madonna proves how much visual interpretation can help elevate a song, and I mean,
Holy Water suffers from not great production, though. That could have been a much better song with better production.
Like with what is it? What am I? Hard Candy. Brain freeze. Like with Hard Candy, I often wonder what Rebel Heart would sound like if there was a different producer involved on some of the songs, because I think that's the one thing that Rebel Heart has going for it is the production sound throughout all the songs is very, very consistent. It sounds that they all sound like they live in the same world, but I feel like they might have fared better if they didn't sound so similar, like if there was a bit more difference to some of it. I think maybe that's why I respond to something like Unapologetic Bitch or Bitch, I'm Madonna or Holy Waters, because they're very like that's more Diplo, and there's a bit of a difference coming through than like the more Kanye tracks.
Yeah, but Holy Water is a Kanye track.
Yeah,
that's why it sounds the way it does. That was one of the ones that's why she says Jesus likes my
that's right.
Yeah.
No, and you were absolutely right, Stefan. I think something like Veni Vidi Vici, which I think is a good track, would have been a better song, or would have stood out more if Iconic were not there, if Illuminati were not there. You know, it's like, let's have one of this instead of 4 of these, you know?
Yeah.
And
right, because she's rapping on rapping or like spoken word on multiple tracks. So it's like Illuminati, we have it. She, you know, like there's a little bit of that on Veni Vidi Vici. You get that, like it's a little too much sometimes of the same stuff. Where like had she been a bit more editorial, maybe some of the songs would have popped a bit more.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I feel like after they did Bitch I'm Madonna, they were like, oh, this works. And then they tried making more of them, and you see what we got. Like,
so what are our thoughts on Hold Tight? Because I think Hold Tight is a bit of a divisive song amongst fans. Some people really love it. Some people don't love it. I
love it.
Okay, so Ben, your team love. Tony, how do you feel of it?
You know, it's one of those songs that I heard it the first time and it never stuck with me the way Madonna songs usually do. So I don't hear it often, you know?
Yeah. So I'm Ben, I'm team I love the song as well. I think that when I heard the demo of it leak, I was like, okay. It's an okay song, but then Ryan Tedder got a hold of it, and I think that was part of the reason how the song turned out is they wanted it to sound like something currently on the radio. And so they sort of souped it up. You get those like, and again, a lot of the tracks have like a marching band drummer sound. Like there's multiple songs on the album that have a marching band drum beat sound to them, which again, sometimes it works, sometimes better than others.
Well, Hold Tight harkens back to Beyonce's EXO from her self-titled, which Ryan Tedder also had a hand in. It's that do that goes through the song, and when I heard the leak, I was like you. I was like, oh, that's got some potential in the songwriting, but that production is not manifesting its destiny. And this was one of the songs that actually got better after the leak, because I was like, oh, that is crisp and it snaps, and I was like, and she sounds great on it. So
I mean, the thing that sold me on the album version, that to me I was like, okay, I'm sold, was the everything's gonna, when she that little part over and over and over again. It's just like, I just love how she sounds on that moment, but and this to me was always a miss. I was like, why wasn't this released as a 4th single? I felt like it would have been super radio friendly. Like this is the song that you would still hear in the grocery store today had it been released. And I felt like
it was playing in Target a couple months ago.
Oh, what? Nice.
The Target in my neighborhood, I've heard Hold Tight over the past decade at least once or twice. No, more than that, because who was I with? And they were like, who is this? I'm like, oh, that's Madonna from Rebel Heart. Oh, yeah. It's on somebody's playlist.
You know, I was going to say some gay named Randy is playing that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I remember going to buy the super ultra deluxe 5-star edition of Rebel Heart at Target, you know, the double one with all the...
Oh, I have it. The one with the cover behind you, Tony. I have that one somewhere.
It's a great package, by the way. I may not love all the songs, but I loved looking through that thing. It had everything I wanted from a Madonna release, double everything.
Yeah. I mean, the books that we got from Rebel Heart are amazing. The looks that we've got, like all the photos that we have behind us. I mean, we got some stellar imagery, photo shoots, the Mert Atlas shots from the actual album covers, and then the multiple editorials that she had in certain magazines, and of course the video looks were great as well. Then after Hold Tight, I mean, again, I felt like Hold Tight was like a missed opportunity. Like, why didn't she sing this on tour? I felt like that should have been like it should have been a tour. Like, how you remember how when she did like when Truth or Dare came out and she released Holiday and Like a Virgin as like videos from the Blonde Ambition tour. I felt like that should have been what she did for Hold Tight. Like, if you don't want to do an actual video version, put the song on the tour and then just have the pro footage of the tour be a performance video. And I felt like it was such a missed opportunity because I felt like it was so radio friendly. It was so top 40, like adult contemporary ready song, and I don't know. I felt like Hold Tight was such a missed opportunity.
It's also just a good song. It's well written. The structure is good. It's catchy.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like that was such a weird decision to not. I mean,
but I feel like the minute she was like, "Okay, we're going to start rehearsing for the tour," she stopped promoting the album.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that Interscope was not a favorite moment in Madonna's musical career.
Yeah. I did hear a rumor that Hold Tight was meant to be on Celebration Tour, that there was a section that she cut from Celebration that contained Candy Shop and Back That Up to the Beat and Living for Love and Hold Tight. So and I think Music was part of that section as well. But so Hold Tight was meant to be finally given its due, and again, it didn't make it. So
it's funny
I mean, thematically, it goes with the Celebration tour.
Yeah. It's funny because then you say that, and I know we can talk about it more when we talk about the tour, but like, I don't know where you would have put that song in the Rebel Heart tour. Now that we think about that, there was nowhere that song fit. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So then after Hold Tight, we've got, I mean, again, there's a beast of songs like Joan of Arc, iconic, Heartbreak City. We've already discussed Body Shop and Holy Water.
I love Heartbreak City.
Yeah, let's talk about Heartbreak City for a second, because again, that was one that leaked, and it didn't change very much from the leak to, other than "And I Still Feel Shitty" getting cut at the very end of that. But I loved seeing that on tour. I thought that was I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a very angry Madonna singing about somebody who
Raheem
did her wrong.
Listen, you go into her house, you got to come correct. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That you're right. It's one of her angriest songs. It really, wow.
And I feel like she wasn't even mincing words. Like, you can sort of tell, like, oh yeah, this is her relationship with Brahim after MDNA ended.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because it's still, as you said, it went through very little changes. So it's still, presumably, that means it came from the Avicii sessions that they did those 2 weeks after the Oscars in 2014. So like that song had been sitting there for a while. And
I always wonder what happened to Joan of Arc, because the original version was a ballad and it was beautiful, and then they injected it with some beats, Euro beats, and I'm like, this song doesn't hit the same way. And the themes that she's discussing in the song are too heavy to be trivialized with a dance beat. You know what I mean?
And I felt like with Joan of Arc, it was a little too soft dance. Like, it was almost like, why are we trying to make this dancey if you're just going to make it that fluffy? You know, like, it was kind of just like a little too adult contemporary fluff, you know, like either commit to like the original vision or like go full on like harder dance, you know?
Yeah, it reminded me of that really weak Rain remix that's on the CD single that they were trying to ship out to radio. And thank God that didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because I like the messaging behind Joan of Arc. And I like, for someone who's like, it's about a warrior, it's a very wistful song almost.
No, it's about someone who's a warrior but is also vulnerable and maybe heartbroken at the same time, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
So maybe
she's
that's
too
where
busy fighting. She's not getting laid. That's what that's about.
Thank you, Ben. That's what I wanted to say.
I mean, and it's funny because you can clearly see that like Joan of Arc and Heartbreak City were songs written and created with the original intention of the two halves, right? The rebel half and the heart half. And they would have been on the heart half, but because they were ballads, but they still had like the rebellious elements to them, right? Like the rage and an X. Yeah, I really wish she would have been able to stick with that original concept. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
No, Ben, to echo what you're saying, I feel like Beautiful Scars could have been part of that too. Maybe somebody was like, at Interscope was like, too many ballads on here.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then,
but then we get the weird, like, so now once we get to like Body Shop is when I'm like, Holy Water, I'm still hanging on. But once we pass Holy Water, that's when things start to go a little up and down for me. Where I'm like,
you don't like Inside Out?
So I did when the demo came out, and then I felt like they changed it too drastically. Again, I think that's the leaks of the demos really did a number because we were introduced to these songs, and the first thing we hear is the demo, and then she totally takes it on Wash All Over Me. I'll still never forgive whoever's decision it was to take it from this Avicii. Because again, what Kanye did to some of the other songs, like Devil Pray, did sort of like soup it up and change it. And I was like, why didn't they just do that to Wash All Over Me? Like, why didn't we take Avicii's dance version and just soup it up the way we did Devil Pray? Like, keep it dancey. I just Wash All Over Me is such a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah, same.
I just don't like there's nothing to the song like as it currently stands. I was like, it's not doing anything. Like, at least there was drama with the Avicii version.
Yeah. I even in the redone version, which is by Mike Dean, I like Inside Out.
There's something to Inside Out that
I like her vocals.
Yeah, her vocals and the actual lyrics and the songwriting. Yes. But the production,
I don't like her vocal treatment on the
it didn't need that weird filter.
It's a bit compressed, and the filtering on it is kind of weird, and I felt like Inside Out could have been better.
Yes,
had somebody taken the reins and produced it a little bit differently. Obviously, there's Tony's standout Best Night, which again, to me, I was like, this is bedtime story, come to life, or even erotica era. I mean, it's and I love that she fought the people telling her not to sing with the Grills, because the Grills are all over this album, and they're definitely part of Best Night.
Yeah, this is one of those songs that, I don't know, the pacing makes it feel like you're actually in the car with her. I don't know. I've always thought that. But this is like a night out with Madonna, and it's just like exactly what I wanted to hear. And it takes me back to erotica and bedtime stories. It has that the same beat and
There's a grittiness to it. It's
that's so funny, Tony. I had never thought about that, but honestly, this song could have been between Forbidden Love and Sanctuary, or between Love Tried to Welcome Me and Sanctuary. It totally could have fit in there. It is that energy. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that goes back on my like list now.
But then like Veni Vidi Vici, I don't feel that's a successful song. I'm sorry. I like what they were trying to do with it, but I just don't. It's a skip for me.
It's half the song is Nas. I don't know.
Well, I like Nas, but her lyrics though, because it's kind of like it's basically like the Celebration tour in one song, She's like telling you the story, But yeah, Nas takes over, and I'm like, I don't want to hear you rapping about how much you hate Khalees. Like, that's not why I bought this album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. His rap was out of place. It didn't seem to fit in that song.
I think she just wanted to work with him, and that's what we ended up with. And they could have, both of them have done and could have done a much better collaboration.
Yeah, on his album, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my
so
gosh.
then we go into SEX, which again, that to me is very on brand for Madonna, but I felt like it sort of didn't fit quite right here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pushing buttons and sort of pushing agenda, but I just don't. I mean,
rehash.
I don't feel it was as successful as it could have been.
It felt derivative. It felt like it could have been an interlude on a tour video as opposed to a full-on song. It could have been like a Get Stupid. You know what I mean?
Wasn't it? It wasn't an interlude. It wasn't. She didn't perform this on Rebel Heart. She just had the dancers on the beds. Remember?
Oh, I know, but I'm saying the song could have just existed as an interlude. You know
as an interlude. Yeah,
it didn't need to be on the album.
Yeah.
It also really gives MDNA energy versus it doesn't fit anywhere into the Rebel Heart concept. Yeah.
I
feel like at that point she was just getting bored and was like, you know,
she's like, they like it when I'm dirty. I'm gonna say a bunch of dirty things, you know.
Like, yeah.
So then we have Messiah, which I think is very beautiful.
I love it.
It's a great, like, the instrumentation is beautiful. I like the lyrics to this song. This is one of those where I think it would have fared very well as a soundtrack song for Madonna.
Yeah.
And I could have seen her performing it at like a Golden Globes or an Oscars. I'm surprised it didn't make it on a soundtrack somewhere, but
I love this song. I think it's very ambitious, but at the same time, I feel like it was also one of those, it's a ballad and they didn't know what to do with it. You know, they were trying to stay away from Madonna doing ballads, but hello, do the research. Madonna's biggest hits are ballads.
Right.
You know, let her lean into that, you know?
So frustrating.
I almost feel like maybe Interscope was afraid of the title of the song. And like maybe had it been a slightly less controversial sounding title, they would have embraced it a little bit better. Messiah just it evokes religious intonations that maybe Interscope was like, we can't go there.
And it came out at the same time that the religious right was calling Trump their Messiah when he announced his candidacy like a month later. So
I think you just slap it into Dune and it fits in with the story and it has nothing to do with God. It has something to do with Alien.
Chalamet.
Yeah, exactly. Alien Chalamet.
So then the title track, Rebel Heart, again, I still feel like the original Avicii version was a little bit peppier and happier, but I think the album version is still kind of fun. I think it's catchy and
it's very pop rock.
Yeah.
Well, Stefan, you know which version I love the most, and you might agree with me. The one that we heard in Washington Square Park live.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you performed that there. Yeah. Oh right. That was the Hillary rally, right?
Yeah, that was that. And we were on our way home thinking tomorrow we're going to have a female president. And here we are.
But yeah, I thought Rebel Heart was successful as a track. It's again weird that we didn't get this as a single. I felt like it would have bode well as a single.
Like true
and she
bluish.
loves performing it live. You can see that.
She does. Yes.
Yeah. And then the last songs that made it: Beautiful Scars, Borrowed Time, Addicted, Graffiti Heart, and Auto-Tune Baby. We're counting Auto-Tune Baby because it was on a version and then I think it was removed. But
it was on the German bonus track.
I know I heard it when it first came out.
That was one that I had to like download from a separate source or something.
Yeah. There was a lot of puzzle piecing with this. You had to like some versions had something, other things you had to go here and there. And again, like you said, Beautiful Scars. That's it's such a beautiful song. It's so beautiful. I wish we would have gotten I could have gone for like a remix EP of Beautiful Scars to hear different shades of that. I think I would have loved to have heard remixed versions of that from her. It's just beautiful.
She sounds happy in that song. She sounds cute even, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very True Blue. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Borrowed Time, I don't, again, I mean, it's okay.
I think I've heard it twice this week and when it came out.
But Addicted, now that, and again, I can see why it sort of was buried on the Super Deluxe, because that is very Avicii. Like, I mean, it even sounds like Avicii's Addicted that he put out. But she sounds really commanding and great on that track. Like, her vocals are really solid on that. And it's a fun vibe for her. It's very like Quentin Tarantino-esque almost. Like, I just feel like that's like Addicted is like a audio representation of like a Quentin Tarantino vibe. And
it kind of reminds me of Gangbang from NDNA. Like
Ish.
the you know, not the way it sounds, but like her delivery, you know.
Yeah, it's really strong. Graffiti Heart, I mean, that's it's such a great nod to her
I love
origins in New York.
Love it.
Yeah, that song always reminds me of Keith Haring when I hear it.
Yeah.
I re-added it to my workout playlist. I was like, oh, I'd forgotten this song. And I just love it. It makes me happy.
There's a lot of that sort of sweetness on this album, which is, again, it's weird that we go, I think it's just there's so many highs to lows. You know, we're going from something like Sex to, you know, Beautiful Scars to like, again, she was trying to deliver two different tropes in the album, but I think maybe the swings are maybe they're too wide. I don't know. I mean, look, a lot of people love this album. I mean, as I was re-listening to it, I was surprised at how much I remembered and how, like, I don't listen to this album all that often, but I love some of the songs on it, and I think it stands up. I think it, you know, it's a very contemporary sounding Madonna record.
Yeah, one thing I learned from this album, when Erotica came out and they had 13 tracks on it, I thought, thank you, Madonna. We want as many songs as possible. Just put them all on there, you know? And then when we had pared down albums like Music or Bedtime Stories, I'm like, why can't we have 5 more tracks, you know? Right. So I learned my lesson with Rebel Heart that having too many songs is probably not in her best interest, you know? It's like, keep it under 13, you know. Didn't she say once that 13 is her favorite number? That's why she...
Well, it's Kabbalah. 13 is your lucky structure number.
So we've already all agreed that this could have been edited, had a tighter, you know, just I can't even think of the word, but hold tight, you know.
It could have been more concise.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, what do you think are some of the songs that should have gotten thrown out with, you know, like to sort of pare it down?
I think give her one rap song, take the rest out. You know, stick to the concept. You know, half the songs are about being a rebellious, you know, bitch, and the rest are about being a sensitive, you know, woman going through different emotions, you know. I mean, also at this time she was adopting the twins and Mercy, so you know, I mean, that could have been part of like the heart of the album, you know. So I mean, I think I was kind of thinking about what Ben was thinking, that the heart of the album could have been more present, and then the darkness could have been edited out, you know, or edited down, you know.
Yeah, I mean, looking at like the track list right now, like I'd throw out Illuminati. I'd get rid of Body Shop. I'm sorry, Ben. Inside Out, Washed All Over Me as it currently stands, Veni Vidi Vici. I could do without Sex, Borrowed Time, trash, and then I think that pares it down just enough. But I mean, I'm sure I could throw out a couple more, but like those.
Yeah, I was going to say you two are being nice, because I got about 10 that I would get rid of. Unapologetic Bitch, Illuminati, Bitch I'm Madonna, Joan of Arc, Iconic, Body Shop, Holy Water, Wash All Over Me in
My
this
God.
incarnation, Veni Vidi Vici, and SEX.
Oh, okay. But see, I feel like iconic, even though that's necessary. I feel like that was
Mike Tyson. Why?
It was a really
No.
fun tour opener, though. I felt like that opened that. It was a very bombastic song to open that tour.
It was, but it didn't need Mike Tyson.
She wanted that, though.
I know she's been buddies with him all the way back to the 80s when her and Sean and him and Robin Givens used to hang out in Hollywood, but
when they used to go see Mike Tyson fight at the Trump Taj Mahal, you know.
God, it's like a virus. Anyway.
Wow, Ben, that's a slashed version of this album.
But the remaining 9 tracks are The Rebel and The Heart, and it's a mix of if I could get the Avicii original Wash All Over Me back, it'd be a 10-track album, and it would just be like bam. Well, I guess it's more than 10.
You'd also throw out Ghost Town, right?
If I get to put Beautiful Scars and Graffiti Heart on mine, I probably would get rid of Ghost Town. Yeah.
I mean, even though I was underwhelmed after the album was completely released, I was still like, but wait, there's a tour coming, and this is all going to be mostly justified, you know? And I think it was. And, we'll talk about that next time. But I thought it was a very successful tour, track list wise, and, the staging and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she delivered the goods for sure. Yeah, even if you were sort of I think it helped you sort of get past the rollout a little bit.
And it was the first time I got to see Madonna in Brooklyn.
I still am surprised she didn't do well. We'll talk about it when we do the tour. Yeah, Hold Tight's not the only song that I'm like, how is this not on the tour? So, yeah,
we'll get there. Well,
okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what do we all rank the album?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
That's what I would give it, actually.
Okay. I'll give it a 7. I think 7 is good.
He's giving it a 7 because he's an unapologetic bitch.
That's right. He likes the bitch songs. We see you, Stefan. We see you. I'm surprised your background picture isn't you on stage with her. When I signed on, and I'm like, wait. He's not using himself with her in the sparkly dress. Did I log into the wrong Zoom?
No, Stefan, I actually thought about this, but I didn't have the time to do it. I was going to do the photo with her, put my face on her jumping the cover of the Rebel Heart DVD, and then you right next to her. But I didn't have time to do it.
I was going to say, you can do that for when we do the Rebel Heart tour review. You can
deal.
Do that.
That's too funny.
Well, everybody, that's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us for a little look back on Madonna's, I guess, controversial 13th album. I mean, I'm curious.
But it was a good era. She was available. She gave interviews. She did TV.
Yeah.
The
promo was amazing for this.
The promo, even after all the crap that happened with the leaks, and even after she got nearly murdered by her backup dancers, I loved her week-long residency on Ellen,
right?
And the different songs that she performed, and then sitting there next to Justin Bieber, and you could just tell she was like, okay, I'm going along with this, but God, dear God, help me. This is what my life has become. The look on her face was just so funny.
No, and you said available. And I mean, this was the first tour since Girly Show where she really went all over the world.
Oh, she really did. Yeah. And gave people the songs they wanted to hear.
Just the fact that she brought people up on stage. I mean, she'd never done that before.
Including you.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, including you. God, people got to hear Take a Bow and
Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
Yeah.
We got deeper and deeper. Hi, hello.
Oh, I love that version of Deeper and Deeper.
We'll get there for the tour.
Hey, we're teasing and promoing, okay?
Yeah, slow your rolls.
And there's actually there's songs that I would cut from the album in my harsh edit that I actually liked on the tour. So that'll come later. Yeah.
There we go. Well, something to look forward to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, remember, everybody, you can find us on all social platforms at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast, or on YouTube, you can click the like button and donate via Super Thanks. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Until next time, everybody. Thanks, guys, for joining us. This is a fun show. I love when we disagree on things, and when we if we all got along and loved everything, it would just be too fake, So it's like,
I know. I can't wait to talk about the tour.
Throw out Ghost Town. It's like, oh, those are from some fighting words.
Sorry, I think it's milk toast. It's just like I just give it to Selena Gomez already or something.
No, give it back to Madonna and re-release it, please.
Well, reproduce it with some better production, something, anything. Oh my god.
Ben, I'm gonna give you the final word.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Bye.
and we missed you, Liberty. We'll see you
Yeah,
next
bye,
one.
Liberty.
Next
you, Liberty.
time, she'll be next
She'll
time.
be here next time.
Yeah.